Hello, and thank you very much for downloading this episode of British Culture, Albion Never Dies. Some of you know me as Fleming Never Dies from my Instagram. That's my Instagram handle. And you'll have seen that I went down to London on the weekend and met up with some really, really cool people who also share their love of Ian Fleming's James Bond on Instagram and on blogs and on YouTube. So I'm going to cut straight to that interview, and then afterwards come back to talk about my trip to London and how I'm doing being back in Britain, and of course an update on the Alphabet of Britishness. So here's the interview, and I give a bit more context afterwards. Hello, my name is Thomas, and today I'm in a pub with a group of lovely gentlemen. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, Thomas. Hello, Thomas's audience. I'm Pete Brooker from Tailors with Love.
I'm Chris from British Bond Addict.
I'm Daniel from Daniel Gaster.
You can find them all on Instagram. We're having a lovely time in the pub and walking around London, so I just have one question for everybody. What's the most British thing you've seen today?
Oh, to me first. Okay, well, the most British thing I think I've seen today is 5 bloggers on a train that didn't know where it was going. And it was actually, we were at a standstill, I think, for a good 10 minutes before we realised that it was going nowhere. So we had to disembark and find other alternative routes. But I think that's probably the most British thing that I've seen.
And it sounds like we're doing nothing. We were discussing thickness of ties.
We were.
We were discussing hemming of trousers.
Yeah. I think that's why all the women of the train just jumped off in front of another train.
Perfect answer, thank you very much. Okay, Chris?
For me personally, it was as we came out of, which station was it? Was it Westminster?
Westminster.
Came out of Westminster, we found a little pub with a gorgeous view of Big Ben, and we got our first order from the first pub we went to, and we ordered a couple of beers, maybe a glass of Coke, and I look up and I see you, host of this podcast, taking a lovely cup of English breakfast tea to his lips in front of Big Ben as the red bus came by just before the rain started.
And was that before or after the pigeon shat on him?
For the context of this, let's say during. That was the most British thing I've seen all day.
Brilliant. The one who's lived in England the least is the most English. Okay. Daniel?
I think that the most British thing I've seen all day was when we were at the abandoned station. You were getting the prop keys out, and a lovely member of the public just went, "Can I take your photo for you?"
Oh.
That was very
positive,
sweet.
yeah.
But I mean, she was sweet, but the boyfriend was like, "Come on, let's just get out of here."
He was like, "Why are you doing this? We could be here for ages."
He was clearly a Craig fan.
Yeah. Don't encourage them.
Brilliant. Those were the most British things we saw today. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thanks for having us on.
There we go. Thank you very much to all of those gentlemen for taking part. Of course, I'm coming down from Yorkshire to London. For those who aren't too familiar with either of those places, Yorkshire is very much in the north of England. I'd say it's the heart of the north, although I realise some might dispute that. But I'm in a little village, so I took a bus from a little village, a fairly early bus, 9 o'clock in the morning. Because there's only one bus in this village, so if one of them happens to be late, and things happen on buses, it could throw out the entire day for me. So took the bus, went into town, Bradford, and had a little wander around in Bradford, picked up sandwiches and a few snacks from good old Marks and Spencer's, and then hit the train. So I'd booked that well in advance. Buying tickets on the day can be very, very, very costly on the British trains. So fortunately I've got a good app, good train line, that helps you see deals coming up, a week in advance, 2 weeks in advance, however long, months in advance if you want. And there are little discounts going on it, so that made it easier on the wallet. Just first of all heading down to London, and happily there's a train that goes straight from Bradford to London. It takes about 3 hours, so we spent an hour getting from my little village into Bradford, then 3 hours, the huge distance from Bradford down to London. Then potted about from London's King's Cross, one of the huge train stations, the place that you see in Harry Potter, to Hammersmith Bridge. So Hammersmith Bridge was one of the locations in the recent James Bond film No Time to Die, where Bond and Anne have a little bit of a chat. Well, going on in the world. I like that scene. It's a nice little restful scene, you know. I think it's important in films, pacing, that it's not just all action. You need a point where somebody talks to somebody and maybe resolve something. Actually, I haven't given my verdict on No Time to Die, and I'm not going to right now. In fact, I might do a proper review maybe 1 year after its release or something like that. It was like a bit of time to think and process and digest. I don't do very many hot takes on a subject, but as I say, I went down, saw the location, lovely, good pub close by. Met up with these fellas, hit a few more Bond locations. As I said, had to see Big Ben, especially as it's just been cleaned and renovated and it looked fantastic. I mean, we mentioned the rain. It was, you know, sometimes sunny, sometimes rainy. That's the thing about the English weather. For those who've not experienced it, you know, you often hear it's always grey, it's always raining. And I've had that, you know, travelling around the world in different countries. People say, but in England, it's always raining, and it makes sense because, you know, in Hong Kong, if it rained in the morning, it'll be raining in the afternoon, it'll be raining at night. You know, it's called the rainy season for a reason. It doesn't stop. Equally, if it's sunny throughout the day. Whereas in England, if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes. That's especially here in Yorkshire, where I am now. Actually, I'm not too bad. I'm just going up a hill. It's very, very steep. Again, probably more pictures on the Instagram just to illustrate the podcast. Nice breather. As I say, it was really cool just to potter about and meet these fellas that I've been talking to for years. It seems to be a very modern thing. It's become acceptable to meet people who you met on the internet. I think when I was not much younger, the idea of meeting someone on the internet, you know, they're going to be a serial killer, is what everyone would say, and it's like, what are the chances of both of us being a serial killer? No, it's been a really nice experience and a good day. And then, you know, I'm very cautious. You know, went back to the train station in good time. I asked at the information desk Daniel Gaster, who's one of the writers on the blog from Tailors of Love, the man in a field, not the field. He writes some great articles on, like, you know, Bond wears something in a film and then Daniel Gaster will wear it, but he won't just wear it once. It's not an unboxing thing. He'll wear it for years and years and years and give you the verdict of how it actually stands up. And I really like that because, you know, one of the advantages of these luxury products is that, okay, you buy it, but you don't need to replace it next year. You know, they should last. They should do, but he reviews it to make sure they really do. Anyway, he was really good about making sure I got to King's Cross, you know, because I'm a bit of a foreigner. You know, I've not lived in the UK for 7 years. I don't know these places very well. I couldn't work out where to get some decent supper to take up on the train. He helped me out, and I asked a member of staff, where's the train to Bradford, showed my ticket, and then asked a few more people, eventually got, you know, shown this is the train, this one, right here, show the ticket. And it's a bit funny because I don't think I booked first class, but the carriage number and the seat number matched up to a first class one. I thought, wow, Trainline has all kinds of discounts and deals, so great. Sat down, lady came along, and I kind of showed her my ticket, and she said, no, I'm just letting you know that, you know, the fridge is broken, but you can still buy, you know, this drink or that drink. It's fine. In fact, I got a complimentary goodie bag. That was quite nice. Anyway, we set off, and the train conductor came along and looked at my ticket and said, oh, you took the wrong train. You'll need to buy another ticket. Slightly taken aback. I told him what's what, and you know, asked these fellas which train I should go to and all that, and he was like, no. You know, I realised when I grew up, British Rail was all one company, it was all one thing, everyone worked for the same team. Whereas now there's the station staff work for one company, there's the trains, they're all run by different companies, the tracks for another company, they're not all joined up anymore, and he just said, you know, you just need to ask the conductor next time. So he went on, he didn't have his stuff with him to, you know, to charge me there and then, so I moved to out of first class just to actually a very comfortable seat elsewhere. And looked up on the train line, it could have cost me well over £100 if I was buying on Trainline, and those are normally very good prices. On the train, historically, has been very, very expensive, you know, just to deter you from doing that. And he came along, had the card out, happy to pay, but he was like, you know what, I remember seeing you on the platform, you know, you do ask people, and it is on them really, and so he used his discretion. So I was very, very thankful for that, because he's within his rights to charge me, and I should have found the conductor for the train. I should remember they're separate companies, but there we go. It all worked out, and worked out very, very well. So there's a lesson for me: find the conductor, not random train staff, because they don't all know. It's all broken up into separate companies. It's no longer British Rail. There you go, the things that you forget when you've been living abroad a long, long time. I've had my first week at work, and it's great. The company's been very good about, first of all, just introducing you, meeting people. I met one fella who's pretty well travelled. I'm pretty well travelled, I guess, and yeah, we were able to connect very well on that. We'll be working together. We've actually been deliberately put together by the company, because we have so much in common, and I need to be teamed up with somebody, so why not team up with him? And that's been really good. Line manager's great so far. Touch wood, it will carry on exactly as it is. But yeah, meeting the people, getting to know the systems. Actually, it's a really good onboarding process. My last company actually had me designing the onboarding process for the company, and then testing it out, running it, collecting feedback, all that kind of stuff. And it's pretty well exactly the same as what this company is doing. So even if I really didn't like it, I couldn't curse them, because I've made other people go through the same process. Meet and greet, learn the process, try it out, all that stuff, So it's been good. I feel very, very lucky. Yeah. So great trip down to London. Very good first week at this company. Been keeping me very, very busy. And so busy that I've scarcely had time for the Alphabet of Britishness. Now, this is coming, and I've taken a lot of suggestions from Instagram. Normally, I really like to delve deep into them on the internet and research them and get as much information as I can, but the thing is, that's part of the process. I really enjoy it. I'll be looking stuff up anyway. That's what I do. I enjoy it. And this is really cool for kind of directing me. I enjoy it. I end up looking into things that I'd never have looked into otherwise. There's a fair few personalities on this one, so just going to give my hot take on some of these and maybe cycle back to them later. There are a few musicians. Yeah, Sifu Lama suggested Sting, and Shirley Bassey, and Sam Smith. I don't have really hot takes on these, and I'm very wary about playing copyrighted music on the podcast. But it is interesting. The UK has given a lot to pop music, and then Shakespeare, and again from Sifu Lama's Sean Connery. Wow, I'm going to have to cover that, aren't I? Because so many people find this podcast through my Instagram. But I quite like Aussie Bond Guy suggested soccer for us non-UK types. Roland Hume, sarcasm, exactly what you'd expect from a writer. Yeah, English can be sarcastic, and it's not always clear. Ooh, begin with a book. Stiff upper lip. Oh, maybe you can help me out with this one. Can you give me a really good example of stiff upper lip? Wow. Oh, from Shetland with Love has suggested Shetland. Right. Definitely need to have that one. And given that I was meeting up with from Tailors with Love, and people who contribute to the blog from Tailors with Love, and people who are, like British Bond addict who collects various different ties from the Bond franchise, or inspired by the Bond franchise. Easy Smiles and Expensive Watches has suggested S is for Savile Row. Ooh. And Daniel Gaster has suggested S is for standards. Yes. Britain has standards. Okay, that's just me reading out the list. I'm going to be researching all of these. Should be researching what standards does Britain has. Good standards. That's my hot take on that. I shall go away and do a bit more research. Can't promise it's next week. There might be a brief window. If you have not sent me your suggestions for S, you're very welcome to do so. And I say, even if it comes after I recorded the episode, I do cycle back to them, and I will make use of them. I really, really enjoy these suggestions. Right, I'm on the move again. This is what I enjoy. Had a lovely day at work, and now just rocked straight out to the countryside. The joys of being rural and semi-rural places. Send me your suggestions. I'm on Instagram, Fleming Never Dies. You can email me, albionneverdies@gmail.com. Thank you very much for downloading, and I hope you enjoy that. I really enjoyed the guest appearances. Thank you. Goodbye.